Welcome to A1R Psychic Radio here on Moonstruck TV. You're here again this week with Amanda Hall Psychic all the way from the fabulous Gold Coast in Australia. For those of you that don't know where we are, we're on the east coast of Australia in what's considered probably the mecca of holidays and beach and sun and sand and bikinis and good times. Well, I must share with you, it's the middle of winter here. So it's not exactly bikini weather, but we're heading towards it. It is getting warmer. So we've been very fortunate this winter here. We've had sort of a very mild winter so far. So I'm going to keep my mouth zipped in case that changes because I only like the warmth. So no matter what part of the amazing globe that you've been in this last week, you will have found that the energy did shift, and it was a real momentous shift. It was sort of like bang, gone was Cancer, and in we went to Leo with almost like a bang and a thud, and the whistles and the excitement stepped in, and everybody started to feel more positive. It was like a real flick of energy came over everybody. So I'm pleased to say we're going to continue on that vein for the next week, which is going to be wonderful. But we also have to be aware August is going to be known as the month of eclipses. So we have to be very organised, very ready for how these eclipses are going to affect each and every one of us. I know there's many astrologers around the world have, dipped their toe into the political world and written many, many articles on politics and how it's going to affect and who it's going to affect and why it's going to affect certain players in the political world. I'd like to leave that to everyone else, and let's just focus on us. I think that we're the most important people. Each and every one of us is the most important. So I'd like to share with you a little bit about how I feel the next eclipse that's coming up, which is next week, which will be when this show is in full flight. We will be experiencing a partial lunar eclipse conjunct or sitting on top of the full moon in Aquarius. So it doesn't matter what star sign you are, we all will have some emotional something to jump over, whether it's a hurdle or whether it's going to be a great excitement. We really won't know until we get there. And it really doesn't matter, I don't feel this time, where your natal moon is or where the moon was at your birth. I think we're all going to be tested or feel the effects of this in some way. So normally when we have a full moon, just a straight out normal everyday full moon in Aquarius, it usually is a time of great inspiration. It's those light bulb moments. It's when we get ideas that come into our mind and we think, oh, where did that come from? Oh, that's a good idea. I must write that down. And then as quick as it's come, it's gone again. So I do suggest you have your phone handy ready to sort of go into record any of these light bulb moments that you get. For those of you that are old-fashioned like me and like to take a notepad and pen with you every week where you go, that might be a good idea too. So when we add to that a partial lunar eclipse, and bearing in mind, I've never done a lot of work with eclipses. It's never been something that I've really been drawn to, so I have very limited knowledge on this, I must say. To me, it would indicate, with it being a partial lunar eclipse, it's going to emphasise the fact that we've got emotions to deal with. So it may be this time our light bulb moments are going to be connected more with our emotional life, or emotions that we've had buried or we've decided not to look at or we put away in the closet or the cupboard for another day. Well, that day has arrived. So don't be surprised, even leading up to this full moon, partial lunar eclipse on Tuesday the 8th of August, no matter where you are in the world, whether you're in the northern hemisphere or the southern hemisphere, the southern hemisphere will sort of probably feel more of the partial lunar eclipse than the northern hemisphere, but I don't think anybody's going to miss it. So just be aware there may be some old emotional stuff that will come to the surface, and finally it's sort of like a slideshow or a quick movie in your head of why did that or how did that come about to be, and what are the answers or the lessons that we can take from that. Then I believe we can take appropriate action, whether it's just looking at it and releasing it, or whether there's some action required. So it's one of those really big light bulb moments for all of us, and it may be more than one issue, and it may only be one issue. And to you it might seem like a big deal, but if you were to share it with someone else, that they'd say, is that all? Well, that's okay. It's a very personal time. So as always, each week we always feature a silly tarot card of the week, and this week it's actually one of my favourite cards. And the reasons why it's one of my favourite cards is it's the highest of the minor arcana. So the remaining 56 cards, there's 78 in the deck, they're cut into two sections called the major arcana, which is the first 22 cards. What I believe is like the noun in the sentence. It's where we get our lessons from. It's the things that are really super duper important that we have to pay attention to. They're the parts that we start to build a story around. Then the remaining 56 cards, which are the minor arcana, which I believe are like adjectives in the sentence. These are the things that fill in the gaps. These are the things that pad the story out, that give us more information, that it's not just we've made a statement, now we've got some other information to go with that, so that we can now work out what the message is coming from the tarot cards. So this week I'm really excited to say the card of the week is the Seven of Swords. Now the Seven of Swords to me is the card of your plans, your hopes, it's your wish card. It is the highest card of the minor arcana. So it means that it has the power to override any other 55 remaining cards of the minor arcana. So it is a very, very significant card. Now, look, over the years, I've had many debates with people and they say to me, oh, on this card, it looks like he's a thief. It looks like he's trying to deceive someone. It looks like that this is not maybe a very positive card. And someone else pointed out to me it's got the colours of the gay flag. Now, look, regardless of what your belief systems are and where you stand on the issue of gay people in our society, whether they should marry or not marry, that's not what this card is addressing. What this card is suggesting to you is that you can see that there's a campfire in the distance. Yes, he has a number of swords. He has actually 5 swords in his hand. It does look as if he's running away, but the picture depicts to me, it's like a child sort of looking in their life and sort of saying, wow, I've just been to the circus. If I was able to run away to the circus, my world would be perfect. I wouldn't have to eat my vegetables. I wouldn't have to go to bed when mum and dad tell me, and I wouldn't have to do my homework. So it's that sort of energy that this card is trying to portray, that there's a childlike energy in each and every one of us, and we might want to just run away to the circus in our own mind. So we have the ability to bring into our lives what we are wishing for. So to wrap up the 4-part series that we've been working on with Venus over the last 3 weeks, I'm really pleased to say that we are at the end with Venus. When I say I'm pleased to say, it means that we've covered the first 9 signs and we're now up to the remaining 3 signs. And Venus is the planet of love and affection. So Venus in our chart is where we look for love in our lives. Now, love isn't always about relationships. Love can be about the things that bring joy to our lives, things that put a smile on our face, the things that make us sing through the day. And for some people, they may say to me, look, music is a great inspiration to me. When I'm feeling down, I put on some upbeat music on the turntable and I feel happy. And that's a good thing. Other people may find by looking at a beautiful painting on the wall or looking at a sculpture or something that just makes them feel joyful. Some people like to get out in the garden and pick a bunch of flowers. Other people like to go to the beach or walk in the woods. There's many, many things that bring us joy in our lives besides people, I might say. And, we need to feel joy and we need to feel love in our hearts because I really believe that's what makes the world go round. For those of you that have been watching my show regularly, you'll know by now I'm a pretty upbeat sort of person. I like to be positive and I don't like to have many things get me down. I'm not saying I don't have my negative times like everybody else. I am human, but I always try and find the positive and the good in every situation, no matter how negative, how bleak it may seem, because I always believe there's something positive we can take out of every situation if we look hard enough. So bearing in mind with that, we're going to now complete the 4th-part series of Venus. So we're moving into Venus in Capricorn. Now, Venus in Capricorn is a very interesting fit because Venus likes to be soft and gentle and likes the things that bring us pleasure, and Capricorn is seen as being a sort of almost a hard, definite sort of energy where it's big business, it's money, it's power, it's like I'll run straight over the top of you to get to the top. I don't care who I push out of the road to achieve my goals. And that can be true, but when we blend the two of them together, Venus in Capricorn can be things like I have a real passion for good quality suits. I like things that are made that are good quality, that will stand the test of time. I have an appreciation for the things that people have worked hard for. And if you were to fall in love with someone that has Venus in Capricorn in their chart, know that this person would be rock solid. They would be steady. They would treat you with immense respect. They wouldn't give up at the first argument. They would be somebody that would be there for the long haul. And let me assure you, if they've fallen in love with you, they feel that you are an extraordinary person and you are somebody that has a very practical, logical and a beautiful nature that they wish to get to know better. So Venus in Capricorn is not quite as hard as some people would have us believe. It has a soft and gentle side, but it also has a side where it helps us look after the things that maybe are from a past or a bygone era. So people with Venus in Capricorn quite often are the people that are found restoring our old history, the things that are going to be important for future generations. They're the people that are on the planning commission and sort of say, no, we can't pull down that beautiful old building. Let's plough some money into it and restore it to its glory so we can all enjoy it. So now we move to Venus in Aquarius. Now, I struggled with Venus in Aquarius probably for the first 10 years in my astrological career because Venus and Aquarius sort of just seemed like odd bedfellows to me. Venus being the planet of love and affection, and Aquarius being sort of wanting to dare to be different, to be unusual, to sort of do what they please when they please. It wasn't exactly the most calming place to sort of look for love as far as I could see. And many astrologers have written it up as being a little bit loose with their morals. Anybody that has Venus in Aquarius can be very flippant and move from one love affair to another and really no worry about emotion or whether they've hurt you or whatever. And that's not exactly true. In my research with Venus in Aquarius, I found that, yes, that can be true about some people that have Venus in Aquarius, but usually what it means is if you are lucky enough to meet and work with or fall in love with somebody that has Venus in Aquarius, they usually have a very broad way of looking at things. They are usually able to forgive and forget any slight that might come into the relationship because they have such a diverse way of looking at the world and don't get bogged down in the usual rules and regulations that everybody else takes for granted and says gets bogged down in the first part of it. They're able to rise above that and look at the bigger picture and say, hang on a minute, okay, that might not work for everyone, but hey, that works in our relationship and that's all that matters. So for someone that has Venus in Aquarius in their chart, what they're looking for in a relationship is first and foremost, they must fall in love with your mind. Your mind must be interesting, stimulating, keeping them off balance, keeping them motivated and intrigued. Once you've managed to do that, the rest will become easy and enjoy the ride with someone with Venus in Aquarius. So our final sign, and not necessarily the least of all, is Venus in Pisces. Now, Venus in Pisces is just sort of such a beautiful, watery, creative, sensual sort of placement to have Venus. Venus feels very much at home here, I believe, because Venus loves everything that's soft and gentle and beautiful and creates a beautiful romantic setting. And Pisces here really wants to accommodate that. The Pisces energy is about everything being calm, everything being as beautiful as possible. How can we set the scene? How can we make somebody else feel secure in a relationship? So Venus in Aquarius, in Pisces really does feel at home. So you quite often find people that have Venus in Pisces, they have a very strong love of the water or anything that is connected to the water. So quite often these people will have water in their name, or will live by the seaside or live by the water, or say, oh, I've got to get to the water, I don't feel right. And once they're there, they sort of like drink in the energy of the water, and all of a sudden it fills up their soul and they feel very complete people. So it's always amazing to see how Venus can work in our chart. So if you want a little bit of an update on this, head later tomorrow to my Facebook page, Amanda Hall Psychic, and you'll find I'll put up a little poster there with the brief meanings of what we've been talking about today with Venus and the card of the week. So now we're going to go to our first caller, which is Melissa in New York City. Melissa, are you there?
Hello, how are you?
Hello. Hello, Melissa. How can I help you?
Hello. Great show. Thank you for giving me a quick reading here. So I've been going through I feel a lot of spiritual changes where I kind of want to explore more and that sort of stuff. So it's kind of turned my world upside down a little bit. I feel like, people are distancing themselves or like our energies are conflicting.
Yeah, Melissa, the first thing that they were showing me psychically was you are definitely at an ending. There's a number of endings that are coming up in your life. And the reasons why that you're feeling this so much more intensely this time is that you've been working on yourself. You've been listening consciously to what your inner voice is telling you, or your psychic ability, or your gut feeling, whatever label you want to put on it. We all have this ability to tap into that. And when we start to tap into that, we start to feel everything's in a very exaggerated feeling. Like if somebody's pulling away from us, we really feel them pulling away from us. And, we really feel the changes and the things that are going on in our lives. Melissa, can I say one thing? I think this is a very important time in your life. I think actually what's happening is everything's sort of been condensed to sort of make all these changes and make all these decisions all very quickly, because the universe is trying to get you ready to take on board a whole new path. And to take that on, we can't take things from the past that, one, we've either outgrown, or two, no longer suit us. Now, it's always interesting as human beings, we tend to think that we shouldn't let go of anything in our lives, whether it's friendships or clothing or trinkets that we've gathered along the way. We think, oh, no, I better not throw that out in case I need it, or I better not let go of that person in case I don't get another friend to replace them. But what we fail to realise is people come into our lives for certain reasons. I always say that they come in for a reason and a season. Some people are there for a long time and some people are there for a short time. And if a relationship or a friendship, even family included in this, is not contributing to the situation or the relationship, then they're no longer meant to be in your life. Relationships should be about reciprocal. If I give you some energy, you should then give me some energy back. It should be a two-way street. And a lot of the people that you feel that are pulling away from you at the moment, Melissa, have literally pulled their energy away from you because they've got nothing left to contribute. What they've been doing is taking from you and not giving to you. So even though it may feel uncomfortable to you that all of a sudden, where I had 30 friends and I've got 2, what am I doing wrong? You're not doing anything wrong. It's just the massive changes that are taking place in your life. What they are showing me is from October, Melissa, I think things will start to grow again. Have you just moved house?
I kind of, sort of. I have an apartment that I haven't moved in yet. I've had it for 6 months because I didn't want to leave my mom behind, and and she's one of the people who her energy shifted too, like it just doesn't feel right. So, I'm having a lot of that stuff. I think my family, feels there's something going on. I feel something. I can't put it into words. I can't express it, but...
Yeah, well, but you don't have to be responsible for Mum either. And I think that's part of your problem, Melissa. You have this overdeveloped sense of responsibility towards everybody that's part of your life. So just because all their energy shifting and you're picking on it, it's now time for you to do what's going to make Melissa happy. And I know that might sound very selfish, and I don't mean it to sound that way. What I'm asking you to do is take your own power back, do what's going to make Melissa's heart sing, because if your heart's not singing, then you can't be of any use or any help to anyone else because you're not right. So I think it is time for a move, and they were showing me once the move takes place, then your whole life seems to blossom. It's like everything's sort of sitting tightly connected like a tight bud, and it's trying to break open, but you're not allowing it to break open. As one section of the bud, one petal tries to break out and starts to go into bloom, you're sort of gluing it back down, saying, oh, no, hang on a minute, I'm not ready yet, I don't think I've done this, or maybe they're not ready, or, and you're sort of not allowing nature to take its course. Your life needs to blossom again. You need to become a complete person. And if Mum's energy shifted, you're not responsible for her happiness. All you can do is be responsible for yourself. We all have to paddle our own canoe, you know, and by paddling our own canoe, then we're actually helping other people. So I feel from October, hopefully before then you'll move, but, you know, move of residence, new opportunities, new friends, and the potential of a new job was coming up too, but I'm not sure that was in October. It was sort of like all these other changes, and then at the end of all that, there was the potential of a new opportunity as far as work. But I felt that was somehow or another still connected to the current position. I didn't feel it was a brand new company. It was like the opportunity to move departments or to have a pay increase plus, you know, some more responsibilities, but not necessarily calling it a promotion. It was just like things being shuffled around. But I feel that you're opening yourself up to a whole brand new, wonderful life, Melissa.
Oh wow, that's exciting. And I understand the work thing. I know there's some changes coming. You can kind of feel it. And my boss, she's been very flaky lately, so I don't know if she wants to leave the company, and I think that's where it's coming from also. And it's time for a change at work, too. It all makes sense. It's a lot of changes this year for me.
Yeah, everything's time for a change. And the best way you can focus on this without sort of, you know, sitting down and trying to rack your brains and trying to force answers to come is maybe just get a candle, light it and stare into it and just let your mind go blank. And then if something comes to you, then write it down. You know, write down what came to you in that sort of semi-meditative sort of state while you were just focusing on the candle flame, because that way then it's a natural sort of answer that's coming to you. It's not something that's been forced or something you've been trying to make a decision on. You've just let that natural psychic energy come through, and that will help you.
Okay, this has been wonderful. Thank you. And about the changes, it's a little bit scary, especially with Mom and stuff. And, you know, she's 76. You know, she's raised me by herself. So, you know, there's that kind of thing. But I kind of feel like she pulls me back a lot. And she's very negative and that sort of thing. So I do feel like I have to, like, you know, keep her happy and make sure she's okay. But on the other hand, she creates her own misery, too. And I feel it. It's very hard to be around her sometimes.
And you can't help if you haven't helped Melissa first. If we haven't got Melissa's heart full and happy, then how can we help Mum? Do you know what I mean? Like you staying there and being caught in a negative vortex isn't helping you help her. Do you know what I mean? I mean, just because she's 76 and she's your mum, and I understand that, and I understand we tend to feel this responsibility towards our parents, particularly as they get older, that we feel we need to look after them because they brought us into the world. We do to a certain point, but we've also got to realise that we owe the responsibility to ourselves to live our life to the fullest that we can. You know, you don't get a better place in heaven because you stayed there and looked after your mum till the end and let your life slip through your fingers. I don't believe that. I believe we all have a right to our own personal happiness, and it is very, very hard when you've got a situation like this, Melissa, where, you know, you want to get on with your life, but at the same time you feel this overdeveloped sense of responsibility towards mum and being responsible for her personal joy. Well, no, you're not. You know, I mean, you can't be responsible for everything, so you need to honour what's right.
And she takes it for granted, too. I feel like she takes it for granted, and, you know, lately, like, these words come out of my mouth, and I don't even plan them, and I say, people my age would have left 20 years ago, and, you know, they just come out, like, naturally, and I think it's my, it's just, the truth is coming out, and it's true. A lot of my friends would not be living with their mom at almost 40, but, it's time to cut the tide.
Yeah, but Melissa, that's not the time of you're not being nasty, sweetie. You are speaking the truth. And sometimes the truth does hurt because it is the truth. And I feel that's what 2017 has been about, is we've seen a lot of people speaking their truth. And this is something that's really important. I think we all need to speak our truth. We do need to stand up for ourselves and say, hey, hang on a minute. This is not where my heart wants to go. This is not where my purpose is. And I have a right to tell you that and share that with you. Whether you're happy about it or not, I'm not responsible for how you perceive the information I'm going to share with you. And this is one of those tricky times, you know. You could have left 20 years ago like the majority of the population does, but you didn't. So your mum should be thankful that, hey, Melissa hung around for another 20 years. What a bonus. You know, now I'm happy for her to get on with her life. You know, I really shouldn't be trying to hold her here to me because she needs to fly. She needs to be a person. And I think that sometimes the issue sometimes that parents do that. They do it. I think they do it deliberately. I know some people say that they don't, it's an unconscious thing, but I don't believe that. I'm a parent and I had to let go of my children when it was their time to fly and, you know, spread their wings and explore their journey in the world. And that's what we have to do as parents. Our children are only ever on loan to us for a short period of time. We give them the best tools we can, put it in the toolkit, then it's up to them. They've got to create their own things.
Yeah. My mom hasn't learned that lesson.
So, you know, and your mum is holding on to you because she's frightened.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily a good thing. So, you know, you can't feed into that fear either, Melissa. You've got to allow her to own her fears, to own her journey as well. You know, if you look at it this way, you're actually clipping her wings, not the other way around. You're not allowing her to experience this part of her journey.
Yeah, and that I get, yeah.
And that might make it a little bit easier for you to be able to make the decisions that you need to make for yourself now. And it's, you know, I'm sure there's plenty of people watching and listening tonight, Melissa, that can relate to this reading, that are in a very similar predicament to you, and we've helped a lot of people with your questions tonight. So I'd like to take the opportunity to thank you very much for calling into the program, and we look forward to speaking to you. Okay, sweetie, bye-bye. Well, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for being with me again this week on the show. Next week we'll certainly have the Simply Tarot card of the week. We'll have a little glimpse of what's happening in the universe, but next week we start our 4-part series on Mars. Mars, the planet of action in the chart. So won't that be exciting as we look at how Mars goes to Aries, Taurus and Gemini. And it's going to be an interesting week energy-wise as we get ready for the full moon partial lunar eclipse. So just be kind to each other, just listen to what your instincts are telling you, and just be gentle on yourselves. But remember, the full moon is about releasing and letting go of the things that we no longer need in our lives.